it's Kaypacha with the weekly Pele report for August 16th of 2017. It's a little bit of a cloudy day, a few mosquitoes out here. Started sprinkling a little while ago. I hope it doesn't start raining on the Pele report. An astrology for the soul. Let's get into it. Moon is in the sign of Gemini. Change, change, change. So anything can change any second now. And of course it's going to get a lot more wet when the moon moves into Cancer, the water sign of Cancer, on Friday. And there she's going to come into an opposition with Pluto and a conjunction with Venus. I talked about Venus opposite Pluto in the last Pele report, right? So you know what that's about. And then of course, you know, she's also in a square to Jupiter, which is exact tomorrow on Thursday, but really, again, going on all week. Talk a little bit about Venus square Jupiter. But let's keep on with the moon, because she leaves Cancer, and on Sunday she goes into Leeuw, approaching that sun, a balsamic conjunction, coming back over Mars first, and then in a trine to Saturn, up at 21 Sag, conjunct Black Moon Lilith at 21 Sag. Yes, we have an exact Lilith conjunct Saturn on Tuesday, but really, that's going on all week. But the great total solar eclipse at 28 degrees 53 minutes of Leo is happening on Monday, and it is in an exact trine to Uranus at 28 degrees 23 minutes of Aries. So we have this grand fire trine. You can see it in the chart at the beginning of the report. Okay, Uranus is there, trine Saturn and Lilith, trine the Sun, Moon, and Mars, and north node of the Moon over there in Leo. The Sun is conjunct the north node of the Moon actually tomorrow, Thursday. Yeah, it's at like 24 degrees. So that eclipse is a little off the north node, but it's still a total eclipse. So let me just kind of sit down, look at the camera, and talk to you about it. I think I see a clearing over there. Let's just kind of go see what that's about, yeah? All right, everybody. Well, what can I say? I am thee, thou is me, me is thou. That's the meditation that we do during one of my Kundalini Yoga Kriyas. I am another you in la Keshalakin. That's the Mayan saying. And I am just like you is what I'm saying, is because this eclipse season is wiping me out. Whoa. And it's wiping out a lot of people that I know. It's really crazy, intense times. And we want to look to astrology to try and understand and bring some, you know, awareness to the chaos, to the madness that's going on both within and around us. It's like wild times. These are wild times. And why is that? What is with these eclipses? Well, number one, okay, this is not just an eclipse, okay? Mars is conjunct the Sun, so that like double intensifies it. It's in a fire sign with, you know, fire planets. It's a north node eclipse, and it's a total eclipse. And it's part of a grand trine. And even that's not the only thing going on. Black Moon Lilith conjunct Saturn. This has been building, 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 building over these last month or so. And it's exact, just at the same time as the eclipse. So this is a lot of different factors, a lot of different forces kind of all coming into play simultaneously. We just had that Venus opposite Pluto. Pluto rules intensity. So it's intense encounters, intense relationships, intense feelings. And now the moon is coming in there, you know, and the moon is going to oppose Pluto and come into this, you know, square to Jupiter, square to Uranus before it moves into Leo. So the intensity is not over yet. Yeah, I mean, Saturn is still just about to station, you know, he stations next week. Okay, we'll talk about that on the next Pele report. But this is just like a really intrinsically powerful time. It's the herald of a new age. The heralding of a new age of Aquarius. It's a 2,000-year age. I feel like it's really going to begin when Pluto goes into Aquarius in 2023, 2024. And Pluto's going to just, you know, it hasn't been in Aquarius for, you know, over 230 years. So it's really going to, you know, and then it's going to stay in that sign of Aquarius. But right now we have this foreshadowing because the south node of the moon is in Aquarius. And the last lunar eclipse, the moon was in Aquarius on her own south node. And what is this Aquarius energy? It's really bringing in a future paradigm. Okay, it's like an awareness of a new potential, of how we can invent and reinvent ourselves. It works on very high vibrations. It's the 11th house. It's the 11th sign. 11 is a master number. And Aquarius deals with the genius, with the scientist, with, you know, the computer geek or whatever, you know, that just like is the extraterrestrial. So it's really high frequency, high vibration, high intelligence. And the moon grabs all of that at that lunar eclipse. Yeah, and it's the south node of the moon, so it's even got a lot to do with our past lives. So it's kind of outside of time and space. It's like past and future come together, and, you know, we're all kind of like, what the, you know, what the bleep? What's forward and what's backwards? What's in front of me and what's behind me? And where do I go from here? So for these last 2 weeks now, right, since the lunar eclipse, the moon has been coming around, bringing up all the old emotional baggage, the old emotional garbage, and she's going to come in and she's going to block the sun. She's on her own north node, so she's super powerful. And this is our subconscious, our childish, our selfish habits, our old patterns of self-interest and self-protection, our emotional insecurities, you know, just like wanting to jump out and, you know, grab hold and grab on and hold on to something. It blocks the solar purpose, the solar power, the solar energy for this total period. And it's a time where it's time of a new shot, a new impulse. It's time to rid ourselves of old ways of seeking security, of old ways, okay, you know, that were conditioned in childhood and past lives, and really come into a new way of being, a new way of expressing. So, you know, it's interesting. I was just saying at this last workshop this weekend, Mars has a moon called phobia. It's fear. Wherever the warrior goes, fear goes with the warrior. We have phobia as part of this eclipse. It's time to see our fears, time to see our phobias, time to see and deal with anybody or anything that is holding back or limiting, yeah, our full expression. Let's just look at Leo in the Northern Hemisphere. Leo is this time period, Northern Hemisphere or not, it's seasonally, it works with the Northern Hemisphere. The Greeks lived in the Northern Hemisphere. But you just understand that the springtime, or Aries, is the seed, and it sprouts through Taurus and Gemini. And then it begins and it flowers. You know, Leo is like the flower. This is a time for each one of us to go from bud to flower. And then that flower turns into the fruit. And that fruit gets harvested. And that fruit gets, ripened and taken away. Or the fruit falls off the trees in Scorpio, and dies and goes into the winter time. So just looking at this whole seasonal energy of Leo, and the north node of the moon in Leo, and the eclipse in Leo, the future north node, this is a way of us kind of seeing into a future potential of who we can be in all of our fullness, in all of our flowering, in all of our beauty, and everything that's in our way, everything that has to be pushed out or pushed aside so that we can open in all of our splendor, beauty, and glory. And this, then, is what Leo needs to deal with. The fear of rejection. That if I stand in all of my power or all of who I am, I need a lot of space, or I need a lot of room, or I need a lot of time. And I need to expand my boundaries and maybe push people back or push things away, or jobs or conditions or old relationships. It's like I need space to blossom. The fear is that you are going to not like me anymore, that you're going to reject me, that you're not going to give me space, you're going to turn away and walk away and leave me. Right? So Leo can also have this fear of expressing, their full need to have center stage or whatever, in order to take all of this future vision gained from Aquarius and bring it into the open. And so this brings us to this black moon Lilith conjunct Saturn in Sagittarius. She is the shadow. She is shame. And I talked about this before, I think, right? Lilith is shame. In Sagittarius, I'm ashamed of how much I know, that I have the truth, that I am the truth, that I am one with the truth. Saturn wants to kind of form and structure and, lock down and turn the truth into dogma or doctrine. And Lilith is this feminine energy of nature, where truth is expanding as I expand my consciousness and as I expand my understanding, and I become more aware of more and more other truths upon truths upon truths. Newtonian physics is true in the third dimension, dealing with gravity. And then you learn about quantum physics, where there is no gravity. And the rules and the laws of Newtonian physics that were once so true in this application are no longer true in the world of the quantum. So even natural law of Sagittarius and even the truths of Sagittarius need to take in this feminine quality. Black moon Lilith is the powerful feminine force of transformation, and expand and not be afraid of changing what we believe, of changing what we thought or what we thought we knew in the face of new information, in the face of self-discovery that is constantly saying, I am changing and evolving and growing. And I used to need this much water and this much sun and this much soil, and now I need a different amount of sun and a different amount of water and a different amount of soil. This is a mutable sign, Sagittarius. So it's really powerful. We've only got a couple more months. Saturn's going to go direct, like I said, next week. I'll talk more about Lilith and Saturn next week. But let's jump over to Uranus. in Aries. Yeah? Again, you know, talk about new, futuristic, self-discovery, fiery, dynamic, you know, like expansion and independence and freedom. It's just like... So we're all like hitting the walls. We're all hitting the boundaries. We're all hitting the limits. This Venus in Cancer, you know, says, you know, I want my way. And Jupiter in Libra says, you know what? Other people and partnerships and the world at large want to be seen and included in our world. So there's this whole thing about selfishness, yeah, and sovereignty and autonomy versus giving, sharing, sacrificing, being there for another person. And these are the scales that Jupiter in Libra needs to balance. And right now, there's a big, strong drive towards I want my way and my space and my time and to hell with you. All this Cancer, Leo, Uranus, and Aries, oh my God, along with Eris in Aries. It's pretty powerful. And let's look at it then, in terms of the Sabian symbols. The mermaid emerges from the ocean, preparing to be reborn in human form. This is the degree of the total solar eclipse. Wow. This goes back to Lemuria, before Atlantis, to the ancient times when we were mer people and our bodies were not so solid and dense and physical. And there was more fluidity and more movement and more change and more sensitivity and more psychic perception and more unity consciousness and oneness, recognizing the consciousness in the trees and the plants and the rocks and the earth herself and the stars, consciousness in everything. Before there was this separation in the patriarchy, in the masculine, where only human beings are conscious. So this is emerging up out of the oceans of the collective unconscious. It's like a remembering. We're going to remember ourselves in a new way. Exactly trine Uranus in Aries. Sabian symbol, the music of the spheres. Again, we have this music, we have this water, we have this feminine energy. And then we take it to the grand trine, 22 Sagittarius, the 22nd degree of Sagittarius. Something like foreign immigrants have to fill out papers in order to cross the border. Yeah? This is an initiation into the foreign, which is the new. A bigger, wider foreign land, foreign country is an expansion of consciousness, which is what Sagittarius is all about. And we're expanding that consciousness through mermaid consciousness, through the music of the spheres. So I want to encourage you, yeah? This is really a time to fly by the seat of your pants, to trust that you are a ray of light from the source of light and connected to that light. And you've got a whole beam of light behind you and a whole trail of ascended masters supporting your expansion, your blossoming. And there is room for everyone. And it's time to speak that truth. Fill out those papers. Speak your truth. This is who I am. This is what I want. This is where I'm going. This is what I want to create. Boom, 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 boom. To be let into the new country, the future reality, an expanded reality. That's what I'm talking about. So the mantra for this week, when I really look at it, all of life is a chance. And if I refuse to face my fear, I will never learn to dance. We talked about it in the workshop this weekend, that every fear is from the ego. And as we stop identifying ourselves with the ego and identify ourselves as channels of light, as spiritual, immortal, infinite beings, we're going to see these fears as tests. And you face that fear, and you go into that fear, and you act in the face of that fear. That is courage. That is Mars, the warrior, acting in the face of phobia. Yeah? It's not the absence of fear, it's action in the face of fear. So before I run out of battery or run out of time or whatever, just gonna wrap this up. You got it? I think you do. I'll type it out. Yeah. When I really look at it, all life is but a chance. And if I refuse to face my fear, I will never learn to dance. May you take a chance and learn to dance. Namaste. Aloha. So much love.